to be educated, but I'm so frustrated. Hello to my loneliness. I guess that ignorance is bliss. Take me back to before.
Welcome back, friends, to the channel. Today we're going to be diving in one of the most misunderstood compounds in the research chem space, in the research chem world, and that is going to be SR-9009. Okay, a lot of people think of this as a Carterine alternative, but in today's video, I'm going to explain the true best usage for SR-9009 and why it's not as similar to Carterine as people think. With that being said, guys, let's dive right in. So a little bit of backstory. In the research space, right, Carterine was a huge hit for its ability to enhance endurance and all those things like that. But then came the rodent and the rat studies showing that it caused widespread cancer in rats. And whether you believe those studies or not, I think for all of us, it's in the back of our head. So that is kind of what paved the way for SR-9009 to gain popularity and gain traction, right? People thought, hey, look, there's a Carterine alternative. It does the same things as Carterine, but it's not going to cause cancer. And then the more you look into SR-9009, you realize that it's a totally different compound than Carterine. Okay, so today, first, let's dive into what SR-9009 is, what it does in the body, what Carterine does, and how they differ. In the next portion of the video, we're going to go all into what does SR-9009 do in the body, and what are some of the key benefits that a lot of people miss when talking about SR-9009, or that just don't get talked about at all. So SR-9009 is a reverb agonist, right? So the rev herb is a protein that is highly responsible for a lot of different functions in the body, right? All things from metabolism to some, muscular. It's involved in some muscular processes. The biggest thing it does, though, it's involved in the wake part of the sleep-wake cycle. Okay, so a lot of the times when we're talking about how to improve our sleep, we're talking about the sleep portion, how to get better deep sleep, how to get better REM sleep. But the reality is that the wake part of the sleep cycle is equally as important to the sleep part. So it's going to be contributing to that wakefulness part. Now, how I describe this, and again, SR-9009 is going to be a rev herb agonist, so it's going to be promoting this protein in this process in the body. But how I describe this is that this is like, when the rev herb is working properly and when you sleep really well, this is like when you wake up in the morning and you just feel energized, right? You don't feel slow, you don't feel groggy, you don't feel like you took 20 milligrams of melatonin, but you're, ready, you can hop out of bed, get your day started. You almost feel like you don't even need coffee. It's that feeling of wakefulness, that feeling of, hey, I'm ready to go as soon as my eyes are opened. That is what an optimal rev herb looks like, and that's what SR-9009 is so good for, okay? So it's less of this, cardio boosting agent, and it's really more of a nootropic, okay? So what can you expect from using SR-9009? Well, the biggest thing that you can expect is that nootropic benefit. Now, it's not going to behave like an ultra strong stimulant, but what it will do is give you that great natural clean energy when, when you wake up, okay? So when you wake up, my recommendation is for your research, right, to use SR-9009 first thing in the morning, okay? Keep it far away from bedtime because, again, rev herb is promoting the wakefulness part of the sleep-wake cycle. So use it first thing upon waking, okay? And then when you've used it first thing upon waking, you will notice that you feel energized, that you feel super awake. You don't even feel groggy or tired. You'll have zero urge or desire to go back to bed, and you will be ready to go for the day. That is one of the best benefits, and while it might not sound like anything huge, for people who have a hard time getting their day started or who wake up always feeling like they need more sleep, this is going to be a game changer for you, I promise. Let's now talk about kind of what Carterine is, okay, and how the two differ. So Carterine, okay, is going to be a PPAR delta agonist. So again, PPAR versus rev herb, they're two totally different systems within the body, two totally different mechanisms of action, okay? Now, Carterine is going to be highly effective at boosting endurance, okay? So it's going to be great for boosting endurance. Yes, it helps a little bit with the weight loss process, but the main thing it does really well is it boosts endurance. Now, a lot of people, there's a common misconception, say that SR-9009 boosts endurance really well too. From my experience, the reality is that SR-9009 does not boost endurance nearly as effective as Carterine. It definitely does a little bit, okay, but it's nowhere near Carterine. So when you're building your stack and you're like, hey, I really need that boost of endurance, SR9009 is likely not the compound for you. Again, it helps a little bit, but it's not going to help in the same way that Carterine does. Now, you may be wondering, I've taken an oral form of SR9009 before, and I got really good cardio from it. Well, again, there's a major problem with that, and this is one of the major drawbacks with SR9009 is that it has to be used as an injection or in a transdermal cream. Okay, so for all the people who were using SR9009 as an oral solution and gaining amazing benefits and effects, and hey, it felt almost just like Carterine. Well, I hate to break it to you, but it probably was Carterine because the oral bioavailability of SR9009 is super, super poor. Okay, so that is kind of the distinction between SR9009 and Carterine. With that out of the way, let's jump right back into some of the cool benefits of SR9009. So aside from it being an effective nootropic at promoting, some great energy and some great wakefulness in the morning, there's also a lot of potential benefits for your health that it can have, okay? Again, the studies on it are very limited. There's very limited human data on it. We do not know a lot about it still. So, going into this section of this video, take it with a grain of salt. I'm telling you that right now very clearly, very distinctly. But SR9009 has been shown to help with cardiovascular function. It's been shown to improve metabolic health. It's been shown to have some anti-tumor properties, again, in rat and mouse studies. These are not in human studies. I'm just clearly, discussing the research, okay? So it's been shown to have tons and tons of potential health benefits for the user, right? So again, metabolic health, cardiovascular health, it does a lot of cool things within the body, in addition to giving you that nootropic effect, okay? So if you're someone and you're considering SR9009 and you're thinking you'll get a Carterine kind of alternative, which I'll make a video later about, 5 or so Carterine alternatives that you can use that are not SR9009 that are super effective, things like ITPP or DADA. But if you're considering using SR9009 as an endurance booster, in my opinion, it's not the best option for that. But for the potential for its ability for your health and wellness, for its ability to help with your sleep-wake cycles, for its ability to work as a nootropic, okay, it has tons and tons of potential for those purposes, okay? In the final section of the video, I will be discussing how I personally have used SR9009 for my research. And again, if you want the exact to the T dosing and protocols, you will have to find it at my website, which will be linked right down below. I have a SR9009 guide that I wrote up for you guys that will give you all the information you need. In addition to that, linking some studies. So let's dive into the final part of the video where I'll discuss how I use SR9009. Okay, so my dosing protocol for SR9009 is pretty straightforward. Number one, I never use an oral form. I never use sublingual. I only use an injection or I use a cream, okay? So again, one of the companies I'll be working with very soon here will be offering the cream. The cream is a bit easier, of course, than the injection. It still works. It still works effectively. But in my opinion, the injection is best, okay? It's going to be the most effective. You'll get the most effects out of it, okay? So I use it first thing in the morning. It is literally one of the first things that I do when I wake up, because that's when you get the most benefits out of it. When you're kind of in bed and you're kind of slow to wake up, that's when you need to use it, and that's when you need to deploy it. That's when you'll see the most out of it. So I use it first thing upon waking, okay? And then it has a very short half-life. So sometimes, like if I take a nap later in the day, to avoid waking up from the nap tired and groggy, I'll use it again, okay? So first thing when I wake up, usually after that, I will do some fasted cardio. Another misconception about it is that people say, it's a quote unquote fat burner. Maybe it helps slightly, but again, it's not like a pure fat burner. If your goal is to burn fat, SR9009 is not the first compound that I would recommend to you. But it does boost, cardiovascular a little bit, so it does help with fasted cardio. It really helps me mentally a lot with fasted cardio, kind of, again, get going, get my brain going, get that energy, and then I just kind of, can get started with my day. I use it sometimes, again, after waking up from a nap. The other time I'll use it is before the gym. I do see a little bit of benefits before the gym, like mentally. Again, I'm more energized, I'm more focused, I'm more dialed in. and then my muscular endurance is a little bit better. I get a little bit of a better pump in the gym. For the most part though, it's only when I'm waking up either from my sleep or from my nap. And when I wake up from my nap and use it, I usually lower the dosage a little bit because that's going to be closer to my bedtime. Now, I never ever use it at night. I try to keep a wide gap of 6 to 8 hours between my final SR9009 dose and my sleep. Okay, just because like I said, it can cause that insomnia, which can be a major issue, but that is kind of my dosing protocol that I'll use with it. Again, really, really great at helping to get you woken up, get the day rolling. Now, if you're looking for SR9009 and you're looking for a good source, you can find it all linked right down below. Thank you guys. Take care. Have a good one. And until next time, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you guys.
I like to be educated, but I'm so frustrated.